Hello and welcome to another episode of the King Ugly Crew. Tonight we have me, I'm Skyla. We have Griffith, we have Case, Isaiah, and we have and we have Aaron, and we have Sarie, the youngest sister. So we have the oldest sister and the youngest sister.
Heck yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so tonight our topic is going to be non-family people who have had a big impact. So you're gonna have to put your thinking caps on and make sure your names.
Yeah, please don't pick me first because I'm still really trying to think here. I mean, not that I don't have people, but just trying to remember where.
Listen, you guys think you have a hard time? I have 44 years of life to remember
True.
and think back.
True, very true.
So
Well,
I'm going last tonight.
Oh, you're to pick. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. You're moderating.
Case.
Oh, that's good. I think Baron should go. He's got
Totally.
his.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I'll go first. I have no problem going first, mostly just because I got off probably the most off the phone with the most influential non-family member who I view as being my family because he kind of became my surrogate father after I got off my mission. It was a member of my singles ward bishopric. His name is Lance Witten. He has he's an orthodontist down in Vegas. He also has a practice up in Cedar City. He's originally from Cedar City, which is kind of funny, but we met in Vegas in the singles ward, and we just started talking about trucks, and that's kind of where our friendship started. He is the coolest. At the time when I met him, he was 64 years old. I think he's 69 now. Man, I can't believe he's that old. I don't think he's that old. My ages might be off, but he is probably my best friend.
He's 72.
No way.
He's 72.
How do you know?
Because last time I was talking to him, he was talking about it. He's 72.
This is funny.
Because I couldn't believe it. I mean, honestly, he said it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're 72."
I don't
early 60s maybe, but not that old.
I never pictured him 70 ever.
Preface this guy with he plays in a rock band. He loves his cars. He has tons of old cars. He just bought a brand new Z8 Corvette. He is just the guy that, for whatever reason, he became my surrogate family while mom and dad were dealing with all of their stuff. I basically slept in mom and dad's house, but his house is the one that I went to when I need to talk about stuff and talk about financial stuff. And he's actually the guy that I called and get advice on when I was deciding to go to school for engineering. He actually tried to persuade me against it. He's all like, "Why don't you just go start your own business? You'll make more money doing that." But that aside, he's been very supportive of it. And he's that guy that I go to when I need advice. He's that guy that I know has my best interests at heart for the most part. He just calls me one of his best friends, which is really funny because, I mean, he's this 70-year-old guy. And when I was still a young single adult, before I was married and I was doing all of my young single adult activities, he was the guy that I would go to and talk to and confide in. And he would just treat me like, maybe not quite a son. He would treat me like a friend. And I would just ask for his life experiences. And it's actually where I don't know, he's still one of my best friends to this day. And it was really nice that he ended up calling me yesterday. We talked in like 3 months. He actually didn't know I was working at Power Driven Diesel again. But to catch up and have that friendship over, we only knew each other for 3 years in the singles ward, and I've been in the singles ward for 5 years, and we're still really good friends. He still comes up. I still see him often. I still have keys to his shop. He tells me to go drive his cars all the time. So that's my guys. Lance Witten.
I will volunteer to drive one of them whenever. Just tell me.
Okay. He's got a 62 Porsche 356 that Griff is in love with.
That's the one I got to drive, right, Baron?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one I've got to drive his vehicle so far, and it was a riot. I mean, the motor is basically a VW motor, correct?
It is a Volkswagen engine. They swapped it out.
But that's all. It makes more horsepower as a Volkswagen motor than it is the Porsche motor.
That's funny. It is really fun to drive. I mean, it's just an old Porsche, and I have a huge heart for Porsches for some reason.
The old stuff.
Yes.
Baron, that was awesome. Be prepared. We may come back to you again because I have a lot. So you guys need.
Okay. I will Think deeper, Skyla. Think deeper.
Well, if you have a lot,
Good.
then go, Skyla.
I don't have a. I mean, I do have a lot.
Come on.
Okay,
influential
right.
person, like first person that pops into your head. Just go for it.
Well, so it's not a person; it's a group. When Mike and I first got married, we got married in New York and then moved pretty much straight to Hawaii. We were married 3 or 4 months before we moved to Hawaii, and we get on the island, and I only know one. Mike only knows one person. He went to Navy school with him, and his wife, and so those were the two people he hung out with. And it turns out that she wasn't all that great a person and had a reputation that I wasn't aware of. And so when I tried to go to the Navy, the boat, the submarine's wives group, they kicked me out because they thought that I was like this particular spouse, and I wasn't. She was not an upstanding citizen. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really bad that I'm not going to go into detail in, but
right. I think we can all come to conclusions. But go ahead.
So they kicked me out of the wives group. They didn't know me. It was the first time I'd ever been there. I'm 19 years old, and I'm on an island, 3,000 miles away from my family, and my husband is gone 80% of the time. And so I'm like really lonely, and Mike's getting ready to go on a 6-month like he's gonna be gone for 6 months, and I'm kind of freaked. And so the day comes, it's the day before Valentine's Day, and the boat's on the pier. He goes and we say our goodbyes, and he gets on the boat, and I just kind of stood there and watched it go. And it takes a couple of hours because a tug has to pull the submarine out of the harbor, out of Pearl Harbor, and into the ocean, so they can do it safely because Pearl Harbor tricky. And so it takes a while, and I'm standing there and just kind of crying and trying to get a hold of myself, and I start talking. I know you're shocked. I start talking to strangers.
Sorry, Skyla. I love you.
I know that you're so shocked that I started talking to strangers. So I started talking to these other women who are standing on the pier and kind of doing the same thing I am, just kind of stunned. And we end up talking on the pier for like 2 hours, and then we all started getting sunburnt, so then we moved it to McDonald's and talked for another 3 hours, and there were 8 of us, and we got each other through this deployment, and they're still some of the best friends that I have, and this has been like almost 25 years, and I can go years without talking to them and pick up the phone, and it's like no time has passed. And they taught me how to be self-sufficient. They taught me how to be mentally strong. They taught me how to see the bright side. They taught me how to they taught me how to be a good Navy spouse and how to get through this roughest time of my whole life. So we called ourselves the BNW, and we said it was the Better Nuke Wives Club because
awesome.
Because I had been kicked out of the wives group, and a lot of them didn't feel comfortable there either. And so once a week during that deployment, we met every Friday night. We had a party at one of our houses, and if the guys pulled into a port, they would call everybody would call their house until they found what house we were at, and then as soon as the call came through, we would all scatter to go home so we could talk to our husbands. But it was it was 6 months, and it was really, really rough, but I don't remember any of the rough times. I remember how amazing these women are. So it's Jen Johnson, Holly Sanford, Chris Riles, now I'm going to blank. Erica Hartsfield, Tammy Harris, Amy Bodemer, and Nikki, I think her last name is John. It was Nikki Villarreal. But anyway, so these are amazing women that taught me how to get through whatever was coming my way. So that's my first one.
That is awesome. That is a very good group of friends to have around, especially during that time, I can imagine.
It was the perfect situation. It was the only way I was going to get through that with any same.
Yeah, I could totally imagine that. They are just... Now, I guess I can jump in with the next one because mine's not similar to that, but I have my best friend has been a great influence in my life. And pretty much everyone's met him. If you haven't met him, you will meet him at some point. It's Scott Asbury. And I met him right after Ashley and I got married. I became new assistant manager over his store at Discount Tire, and shoot, me and him literally just clicked. I mean, he's basically the exact same size as me. I mean, to the pound almost right now. We wear exactly the same clothes. I mean, he's got a size 15 foot. That's about the only thing different than me. So
You're twinners.
yeah. Oh, hey, Sarah. Glad to have you back actually on here. Can you talk?
I think so. Yes.
There she
Hi.
is. Oh, hey, Sarah.
Oh, hey. Sorry. Jumping in late to feed the missionaries. Make sure they get their food.
That's okay.
All good. Glad you're here. Absolutely. So yeah, Scott has been a really good friend in my life. He's been there through the ups and downs. I've been through when he got married to his first wife, and through his divorce, and through his little girl, and him finding his new wife, and taking on twins from her. And man, it's been it's been an awesome relationship to grow on, and just his influence, because he's the Griff of my relationship. Griffey's like would go above and beyond. Scott's got the exact same heart. He will say
he's the guy. He helped me move out of my house in Vegas. He'll come up and help you do whatever he can help you do, so long as he has the time. Kind of like Griff.
Yeah, and that's why I absolutely am influenced by him, because he's always willing to help wherever he can. And that's something I always try to do. I'm not the best at it, but just seeing his example in that has been great. Plus, he owns a Jeep, and we go Jeeping, and we're actually planning on going out on Memorial Day weekend this weekend, or this year. So we're pretty excited to hang out with him. He's down in Vegas, so I really don't get to see him too often, which stinks, because obviously my best friend. Kind of miss him. But yeah, that's my influence.
Long distance bestie. It's hard. Huh, Sarah?
Yes, ma'am. I hate not being able to see Taryn. It sucks.
It's crazy how good you keep that relationship. Like Skylar was saying, like you could literally call them, and it's like no time's passed at all, though. Just talk about anything.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it is crazy. I'm not very good at long distance friendships. Taryn is definitely like my one that I like.
That's
stay
because
in
no one
really,
likes you.
really good contact
Griffith.
with. This is what he does.
Just a jerk.
He's just mean to me. It's fine. Whatever.
I'm not mean. I'm a very nice person. I just want to do it to see you get the reaction.
Oh, we're back at this again, huh, Griffey?
Yes.
I thought Dane wasn't on this podcast.
No, harsh words.
Anyway, Sarah, we are talking about people who are not family who have greatly influenced. So what you got?
Okay, well, I have a couple, but I guess I'll just start with one. So
yes, I have lots. So we're just going to do one and keep going until we
one
run
at
out.
a time. Okay. So the first person that popped into my head, because non-family is really hard, because I feel like just my family has influenced me a lot, obviously. But
obviously.
So the first person I thought of was my coach in club gymnastics, Terry. He was a really, really, really amazing coach. He did awesome things, and I just love him. I think he's just such an amazing person. Like, I'm not in contact with him anymore, but I just learned so much from him. Like, I was stuck in a rut when he came in. I had been out with injuries, and I was a junior in high school. I didn't want to listen to him. He kind of gave me my space for the first year he was there, and then at the end of my junior year, he basically told me to stop being a stuck-up teenager and thinking I know everything. And yeah, that was really hard. It was really hard for me to get called out in front of everyone, because he did it at the gym in the middle of workout, and very publicly and very loudly, which I think is sometimes needed. I definitely don't think he would have gotten the same result from me if he hadn't done it that way. So as much as it sucked, it like flipped my attitude 180. And
that's the fact that you're able to take that and take it as turn around into a positive thing, because most people take that as
constructive criticism.
Thank you. That was the exact word I was thinking about. Just literally brain farted on it. But you're able to take that criticism and be able to just actually make a good choice out of it. There's too many people in this world that would just literally just say, "Well, F that guy, he's wrong."
Well, yeah, I think sometimes it depends on the situation too. And it looks like Terry chose his moment with care.
Definitely chose it with care. He had given me some space and kind of proved his way and proved his methods, and so I didn't really have a reason to not trust him at that point. I just didn't want to. And so I think it was just like very needed for me, and I definitely wouldn't have like gone to college without him because my gymnastics wouldn't have been good enough, and I would not be the coach that I am right now without him, because a lot of what I do is based on what he did with us and the way he coached me, and the words that he spoke and the way he spoke them. And so just very grateful for his influence, and that I get to carry that on to the kids that I coach now, where I just, I get to teach them to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, more. Like that was our big thing with him, it was always that bigger, better, faster, stronger, more. And I just love that. Like, it's just so simple. Like, this is what we're aiming for, and like, let's go get it. But, he loved everyone that he coached and cared so much for us and only wanted the best for us and wanted us to reach whatever goals we had. And so without that, I would not have gotten where I wanted to be. I wouldn't have gone to college probably for gymnastics. And I don't know. I would probably still be coaching, but I don't think I would be as good of a coach as I am. Definitely have lots of things to learn still, but he definitely had a great influence on me. So very grateful for him.
That's awesome. Was this I think I can picture him in my mind. Did he have an accent?
No.
Nope.
Terry, nope. Who was the one, the accent that you coached for years?
Marcelo,
that's right. Okay. So Terry's the other guy. Okay.
Yeah, Terry's the blonde hair. Super blonde hair.
He came after your surgery, right?
Yep, after both of my surgeries. And that's why I hated him, because he came in and changed the program, but I was not ready for change
change is hard.
Because I had already had too much change for the last 2 years, being hurt and stuff. And I was like, I don't want change. Nope.
Well, that's awesome though. That fact that you could take that, and he's actually one of your bigger influences now, which is great. Griffey, I think it's your time, buddy.
Totally.
Oh, I almost
Stop
made
stealing
it.
the moderating case.
Well, excuse me, ma'am.
One of mine would probably be Mr. Michael Hoyt. Hoyt was one of my bosses, actually, that I truly grew to have he taught me many things that I would not have been able to learn. And someone that I've really have become to have a very good relationship that I still have. I don't work with him anymore, but truly someone that I close to be a brother to me type of thing. That we still talk on the phone pretty much every week, which is saying something because I don't even talk to mom and dad that much.
Yep.
And someone that's been a very big influence in my life, and done tons of stuff for me to be able to really make me grow and become something that I'm not.
Or that who you are now.
That I am, yes. That's what I meant. That's what I say.
No, that's fine. Because Hoyt's awesome. I remember meeting him and hanging out with him. He's just a good guy, so I knew he was going to be on your list.
Do you have a specific associate or you can think of?
2 years of influencing. Not particularly. Not one story.
He's the reason Griff moved to Prescott.
Yeah, he's the reason that he's the reason I became a parts manager. Literally, he was the reason, because they were trying to demote my old boss that wasn't my boss into the back in that position, and he stood up for me. He's like, nope, that's what Griff's been doing that job, so it's his job now. And so they went and found another position for him for a very short time, and
That's awesome.
Always very much my cheerleader. I've always he was one that knew more about the business than pretty much anyone that worked in that business, because he had done it for many years, but he went and started there without telling anyone that he knew about the business, because he just wanted to start in a low-level position. And so I learned lot of stuff from him, and we became, I lived with him for a year, quite literally. When I was in Prescott, I lived in his house.
That's awesome.
Yep. All right.
Bear, you got another one?
So probably the most recent person that's had an influence on my life is actually the guy that lives directly across the street from me. His name's Toby. He is one of the reasons I decided to go to engineering school. He's actually my biggest cheerleader other than my wife. He always asks me how things are going. He's all like, dude, you got this. Half the engineers I work with aren't half as smart as you are. Actually, that would be complimenting them. Oh, he's the funniest guy on the earth. Every time I see him, he's like, I just work with a whole bunch of total retards. It's like, I don't know how they tie their shoelaces. Like he has he's the one that made me realize that engineers are really just normal people. And you have the engineers that became engineers because they're good at math and science. You have the engineers that actually know what the crap they're talking about. And so, yeah, he's probably my biggest cheerleader. He's the guy that's all like, dude, if you ever need anything. He's also the guy that's always pushing me to go out riding UTVs with him. He's building a rock crawler in his garage. But he's probably become one of my really good friends. My wife has really helped push that relationship. I started the relationship because my wife's afraid to talk to people. And they were, of course, my new neighbor, so I had to go say hi. And then I saw his rock buggy, and then we started talking. And then I became really good friends with his, we'll just call her wife, even though we've been together for like 7 and so they become really close. And so then, of course, we've become even closer. And so, yeah, I mean, heck, it was his birthday today, and so we brought him some stuff and went over there and talked for a while. He's probably the guy, he's one of the biggest reasons I became, decided to go to school for engineering.
That's awesome. That's a pretty big influence.
Really cool guy. He's going out riding with him a couple of times, and just a general, just good attitude person.
Yep,
so
he's fun.
He's a lot of fun to hang out with.
Awesome. All right, Case, you got another one?
Skylar, you're up next. Come on. Then it's me.
Oh, it's me again.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right, so my next one is photography related. So I am a photographer now, and I'm going to go back to when Mike and I first got married again. I was looking for a job that I could do while Mike was gone, and answered an ad in the paper for a photographer's assistant. And I was imagining that I would be following around some old guy with camera bags. But it wasn't. It was school pictures. I was I was helping with school pictures and, helping set up the equipment, take down the equipment, combing a lot of kids' hair. I'm sure there were a lot of parents in Hawaii who hated me. But my boss at LifeTouch, Emily Shiroma, we just called her M. She was so influential for me in many different ways. She pushed me to be better. She expected me to be better. And she taught me so much about photography theory, about, what looks good on people, on posing techniques and tricks and tips and framing and like everything that I know about photography now started with M. And she expected me to do it, so I did it. And it made, like, every interaction with her made me better, even though sometimes it sucked because, I wasn't up to her expectations. Every interaction with her made me better in some way or another. She changed my life. She changed my trajectory. She's why we have good family pictures.
Yes. Yeah, Skylar takes all of our family pictures, like the one we have on our WordPress and social media. I know we posted a couple as well on our Instagram and Facebook. Skylar's the one that's taken all of those pictures, and they are phenomenal.
They're so
Annika.
good.
Thank you. Good. Yep, Annika and I tag team.
Yes.
And share a brain when we're photographing. It's a little disturbing.
No, you guys share a brain more often than just photographing. We all know that.
Yes, but it's way more obvious when we're photographing.
It
is fun to get the pictures of either one of you taking pictures of the other one taking pictures at weddings. That one's funny.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I have one, I think, of Skyla taking pictures of me and my wife from Annika standing behind Skyla while Skyla is laying on the ground trying to get the right angle. It is
yes,
just hilarious.
That was in front of the fountain.
Yes, it was.
See, I remember. I remember almost every picture I've taken. If that's, and it has to be in the hundreds of thousands at this point, but I feel like I remember almost every picture I've taken.
The one in front of the mist with is it Olivia? Or is that Auburn? Out in the front of the bay.
Oh, that's Liv. That was actually our backyard in Maine.
Yeah, that picture still, that's beautiful. And it's pretty.
Yeah.
It really does look like a picture that you would get from like a frame.
In a frame, yep.
Yes.
It does.
So cool. But yeah, Skylar's definitely a great photographer. I'm thankful for them for that reason. Then.
She was awesome. All right, Case Man, you are up.
Alrighty, I gotta think of the one I've been thinking about recently was my recent ex boss, owner of the company I came from or just left. Actually, I know it's weird for me to say he's an influence, but the way that whole he knew that job wasn't right for me, and before I knew it was right for me. I love the blasting aspect. I was pretty good at my job. But it just never fit me. Like I'd never interact with people. I literally sat in a truck for a average 5 hours a day. So not really interacting. I mean, I didn't mind the driving. It was just I'm a people person.
You're lonely.
Exactly. I love interacting with people and just being able to talk. And so I went to him right after.
Give it a few years.
Oh yeah, I know.
You've always been an introvert, Griffith.
I
more
literally talk
introverted.
All I do is talk for a living my entire life.
I abandoned him on Thursday. I felt so bad.
And Baron, now that he sees what job I do every day, Baron, am I an introvert or am I just done with dealing with most people?
You're just done with dealing with not smart people.
Yeah.
I am far more patient on the phone still, but that's probably because I'm still really new.
Probably.
Except for with
Baron
some people. Griff can attest to some people I've had to talk to of just getting straight to the point. Don't tell me your story over again. You're an idiot. Switch your parts.
Just do it again. Yeah. But yeah, so that was I came to him right after Christmas because I basically went to him. I'm like, look, I need a growth plan to see where I'm going to be going in the next 5 years. And he's like, I honestly can't tell you a growth plan because I don't know where you want to be in the next 5 years. So when you figure that out, you come back to me. And that's where it led me on the path of actually looking deep into where I wanted to be in 5 years. I knew my body couldn't handle doing what my job was. And I knew I wasn't going to be happy there for 5 more years. And so when I came back to him after I found my new job and basically told him, he's like, I completely understand it. I saw this coming and it's actually where I wanted you to be. Believe me, I wanted you working for my company, but I just don't have the role for you right now, is what he told me. And
that's awesome.
Like one of the most graceful
quitting.
It was so easy. He's like, honestly, I'm so happy you are leaving. Just for the fact that it's going to make your life better.
Out.
No, not for that. Just the fact that it's going to make your life better. Like we literally just talked on the phone 2 days ago because he needed help with a program. And he just, the first thing he said, how's it going, man? How you doing? Just making sure I'm good. And that was always his prerogative, was to make sure that I was ending up where I need to end up. And Josh Probst, you are the man if you ever hear this. I really do appreciate our relationship, and I hope to continue it. He's been very successful business-wise and financially-wise, and I definitely will foster that relationship.
Sounds like we might talk about him a little. Go Giver book club.
Yeah, more than likely. Speaking of which, guys, book club is next week. So next week, Tuesday, we'll come out with the new book club. Is The Go Giver. Because I'm going to have the author. I don't remember exactly who it is. It is
not
Bob Berg.
Pendragon and John David Mann.
Yep. So Go Giver. It's a really quick read. I mean, to listen to it at normal speed's 3 hours. I listened
to it in 2 hours today.
Yeah.
It was designed to be an allegory. So it's a long parable.
Yes. So great book, really easy to read, and it's going to be a really fun podcast because there's a lot. This book is very popular. So there's going to be a lot of good questions we can get from it. So check that one out next week, guys. But yeah, who are we up to next week?
Okay. Yep. It is up to Sarah.
I don't know. I've been sitting here thinking, and I just have like my categories, I guess. But so I'm gonna do 3 people, but only because they all fit into the same category.
Nope,
and they
not
all
allowed.
Whatever. I just did 7.
Nope, not allowed.
7.
Well, it was a group of people.
Oh, okay. So my group, they don't really know each other, but definitely.
Well, see, this doesn't count already.
Influence.
Shush your mouth, Griffith.
You are such a jerk.
Actually, it's only 2.
Shush it, or I'll mute you.
Okay, we're good then.
So, my first one is one of my really good friends right now. Her name is Chelsea. And then the other person I'm going to talk about is Chrissy. And they both are just phenomenal moms. Like if I can't pick my mom to look up to or any of my siblings to look up to for being a mom, like these are like my mom people. Like they just are incredible.
You don't
Chelsea.
love us.
Griffith.
It's not that podcast, Griffey. We did that last week.
She's the worst. Anyway, so Chelsea has 3 kids. She has 2 boys and a little girl that she just had, and she's just so good. Like she's just so patient and kind, and like comes up with such fun activities for them to do after all of like the COVID stuff happened.
Is that Bryson or Brayson?
That is Bryson. Bryce is wrestling. I'm sorry. So after all the COVID stuff happened, she decided she was going to homeschool her kids, and yeah, which she had a first grader and then one in preschool, and then she had her daughter in December. So
I feel like it would be easier to homeschool that than try and do online school.
Yeah, definitely.
And Terry's gone.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Brayson's not cooperating very well. Anyway.
But his giggle is adorable.
He's so cute. Hey, Terry, if you don't go be a mom, go be a mom.
Oh, it's okay. Bryce has him.
Awesome. Okay.
Anyway, so I just think she's incredible. Like she does it all. She was taking classes her first semester, like before she had kids, and just still would just like be there for her kids and loving and kind, and is very much a mom to Brayson and Brexton when I need her to be. And she used to watch Brayson for me like 3 times a week while I was at work. And Brayson just loves her kids. They have so much fun together, and I just am so grateful for her as a mother figure, because sometimes I need like her patience or her creativity, and I'm just like, okay, I can do it, right? Like, so that's awesome. And then Chrissy falls into like the same category as like just being an awesome mom and a great example to me as a mom, because I really struggle being a mom. I love being a mom and I love my kids, but
I feel you. I'm with you.
I love being a mom is really how it is. Like, and I love my kids, and that might sound awful to say, but like, I don't know.
It's just not natural, is what you're trying to say? Okay.
It doesn't feel like supernatural to me to just like love my kids, which is like, I obviously love them, but it's hard for me to be patient with them. And so
I know.
Yeah. I think most moms probably get that, unless they're like just really, really good natural moms like these. Yeah, pretty much. So
because I bet you see them at their best most of them.
I mean, I've definitely seen most parts of their lives, I think, especially like with their kids. And so like that, I am grateful for that. Like neither of them have really been like fake or like, nope, this isn't how we do life. Like, I've pretty much seen how they work. And so I'm grateful for that. Like I've seen the struggles in them too, but for the most part, like they are just such good role models, even when they're struggling, but that's also good to see. Like that is good.
Sometimes
for me to
that's
see.
most helpful.
Yeah. And so I don't know. So Chrissy has 2 kids. She has a 5-year-old. I think he's 5, and a 2-year-old. And their 2-year-old is like, I don't know how to phrase it. I guess he would be considered special needs. Like he just learned how to sit up and uses a feeding tube to eat. And, so he has all of these like extra things that he needs help with, right? That like, it's a little harder.
Way harder.
Yeah. And so
way harder.
Just like seeing how patient she is and how loving and kind, and like the discussions that we've had that like, in that situation, I might look at my kid and I might be like, no, like maybe this wasn't a good idea to have you, but she just looks at him and he is like the light of their life. Like both of their kids are, and she just is so patient and kind with him and loving, and just gives him exactly what he needs. And like they have constant doctor's appointments because he's always having to get checked and making sure that he's getting enough to eat. And he sleeps with a CPAP machine, and he's 2. And so like there's things that go in with that because he has trouble sleeping, and so it's just amazing to see like her patience with that, and just to like look at that example and be like, okay, she can handle that. with grace and confidence and love. Like, I can handle my kids screaming at me right now. Like, you know? And so I
Yeah.
just am so grateful for like both of those examples in my life of just like what a great mom looks like. And then obviously I have my sisters and my own mom and whatnot. But for non-family, those are such good examples to me. And Chelsea lives really close to me and we hang out a lot. And so that is exciting for me to have that such a good role model so close to me.
That's awesome.
It's great.
All right. Here you got another.
I do. Skip right over me.
What? Oh, that's right.
About
Sorry.
time you get skipped over. My gosh.
Woohoo! I'm not the only one.
Sorry.
All right, so I was thinking this is probably actually gonna be one that Baron and Casey may not have, or may not have.
That's
Brother
why you wanted to
Reed.
go first. They didn't.
Yes, Brother
Brother
Reamer.
Reed is like, I was thinking
Reamer.
about it, but wow.
Reamer.
Brother Reamer, I mean.
Reamer, yes. So Brother Reamer was our scoutmaster, at least mine and Baron's. I don't know how much he was Case's. Probably
was,
a
but
tiny little bit.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, where he was very much influential in our life and really getting us into scouts and really keeping us in the church. And he's someone that, like, still to this day, when I see really poor scoutmasters, I am unbelievably happy that we got stuck with who we got stuck with, me and Baron at least, because he was, I mean, on the ball, like one of the best I've ever seen.
That's awesome. So, in what ways was he
We
so
would
on the ball?
we would go. We had always had a overnighter once a month, always, and he was super prepared for every Wednesday night activity.
Yes, and he would go out of your way to make sure that you all felt like you belonged there. And this, we weren't a small group. It wasn't like 4 people. I mean, my teacher's quorum when I left was 38 people. Baron's deacon's quorum was 40.
Holy cow.
And
We
elders,
ended up splitting my deacon's quorum.
and the not elders, the priest were another 30. It was like over 100 people that he was having to take care of. So, like, take it as if you were taking the size of what we were, to have someone that was so on the ball, and honestly, like, because I was in young men's, and like, to think back on that, and I had 10 kids, and I'm just like, I don't even know how he functioned in work and then came home and did that, because ours was a full-time job almost, it felt like, and he was, I mean, and maybe he didn't feel that way, but from my perspective, from what I saw of Brother Reamer, like, top notch. I mean, bar none.
He sounds more like a general than a master, man.
I mean, I don't know how to explain. He just
did it, and he did it well.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
from
he
what I
did it
remember.
from all the people that were there was very amazing at his job.
Well, he was amazingly organized, and so he had a lot of people that were with him that kept us on the ball of the scouting merit badges and making sure that there were classes being taught. And he was extremely organized in that regard that I didn't notice then, but I think back to now. Because, like, when I was doing it for my teacher's quorum and priest quorum, I mean, I was a third the organized he was.
Yeah, it was like herding sheep is what it felt like most of the time for me, and I was just like, and
Sheep, you were like not
yeah,
an easy teenager a lot of the time. You were kind of defiant.
me never,
Kinda?
never.
A Jensen
was-
defiant? No.
I was always good.
Sure.
Mhm.
They just know who I was by name.
I do swear that there was Brother Riggs hated you.
Yeah, maybe a little. And I don't know what I did. I'll be honest. I don't know what I caused.
Bishop Neal hated you.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
fact.
we digress.
But so Brother Reamer is one that I still think even today, if we were to show up around him, he would still very much remember all of us and be able to. I mean, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, now Baron, you have another.
And he's gone. I heard his kid in the background, so maybe he's taking care of her.
All right, so it's Skyla then again.
Yeah, we'll move back to Baron.
That's okay. That's all right. Maybe now. Well, no, now it still won't be in age order, but that's okay. Whatever.
Hey, we'll probably this will probably be our last round. That's okay
Yes.
with everybody. Sweet.
All right. So, I have a ton of other ones, But the last one I've got is probably a more recent one. She was my work instructor. And for anybody who doesn't know, work is spelled WERQ, and it is a dance fitness class. And I went to this class with my friend Sadie, and she'd been trying to get me to go for months. And finally, I was like, fine, I'll go. But I had, let's see, I'd had Auburn maybe 6 months before, maybe like 6 months before. Wasn't feeling real great about myself, kind of blah. So I go into this class, and within 10 minutes, I'm hooked. Totally hooked. It's rock, pop, and hip hop. It's fitness. It's amazing. And so I took it for about a year. Knew all the songs, knew all the moves, knew, everything. And one day, my instructor, I was telling her a story where there's a song that I was practicing, and I hit myself in the face and gave myself a bloody nose. And she's like, wait a second, you were practicing this at home? I'm like, yeah, how else am I supposed to do it well in class? And she's like, class is supposed to be the practice. Skyla, if you're practicing at home, you need to be an instructor. And it was like instant light bulb went off.
Ding, 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 ding.
And I went, yes, I do. How do I do that? And it completely changed how I think about myself. She pushed me, but she was always extremely kind. She would find sneaky ways to get me to do the thing I was scared to do. Like one day in class, we're dancing, and and there's no breaks in a work class. You just go the whole time. And she turns to me, and while we're dancing, she goes, I have to go to the bathroom. Is there a song that you know that you could do? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do Work Me. And so she puts that song on, and she didn't actually have to go to the bathroom. She was peeking at me in the doorway, but it was just to make me do it because I had been scared to do it. She found all of these ways to push me without making me feel like I was being shoved. And through her showing me how to do that, I was able to do that for my work students who became work instructors, my work students who felt their confidence of this class and the joy that dancing and endorphins and doing something well brings you. And that it, even though I'm not teaching it right now, it still completely has changed how I look at myself and what I'm capable of and what I can accomplish and how many lives I can touch. And for that, I will forever, Casey Rickenbacker, she's the best. I love her. So that's my last one.
That is awesome. So cool.
Yup.
I didn't know that's how you got started with work, to be honest.
Punching myself in the face? Yeah.
Yep, didn't know that. That's great.
It's One More Night by Maroon 5. There's a move where we cross our hands to our shoulders and missed.
That is so funny.
That's great.
Right? I'll have to show it to you someday. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just whack.
Boom.
At the family reunion!
Maybe.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Well, I'm so
Right?
excited for that.
Me too. All right, Bear, are you back?
I'm back. Sorry, I was taking care of a child that is teething.
We
All
figured.
good. We understand.
Oh, teething's the worst. All right,
Oh.
Bear, what's your last one?
Probably my next most influential person was one of my managers at Sanders. His name was Brian Keller.
Excellent, man. Good
he-
pick, Baroni.
Yeah, Case will have a little bit to mention on this guy.
Go, Axton.
Sorry, I'll give him over to my wife.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so Brian Keller came into Sanders probably 6 months after I started working there. And
What is
so
Sanders?
Brian Keller.
No.
No,
Keller.
Sanders was
What
a
is-
drilling company. That's where Case.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Case was a driller. Barron was a mechanic.
And
was,
Lawton.
London driller.
was a short-time driller.
Short.
Not a,
Not by choice.
yeah.
It was anyway.
We got you. He's
So-
just short.
He only
Got
got
it.
used as a scapegoat. Whatever.
Well, and he is one of the shorter in the family.
He's just short. That's what it was. Okay.
So
Unlike Barron, that's the runt.
Yes, I'm the
Barron's the
runt.
runt.
I'm still taller than London.
Mike and Baron are the same height.
Yeah, it's not about size. It's not about height. It's about size.
Wait, and how tall is Bryce?
Oh well, he's yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
He's not the
5'10" or
original. He's not
5'11".
like blood.
he
Wow.
doesn't-
Baron, they're still your
Wow.
brothers.
So yeah, Baron and Mike and Bryce are all about the same,
And Lonan. Lonan is technically 5'11
and
too.
and Lonan.
Shorties.
So they're all the run.
Weak.
Oh, Case, you're about to not be the tallest anymore.
No,
I think
Ethan's already taller than me. I already
he's
know.
already taller than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13
Alright,
years,
Not a
14
brother.
years old and taller than me.
Not a brother.
Not a brother,
15.
so I still have that.
15.
15, goodness gracious.
Dang.
It's probably all he's got left, though.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
don't know.
So,
Anyway, sorry, we digress.
Brian
Again.
Keller, he came into Sanders about 6 months after me working there. Well, started working there. I was running the show on the mechanic side. They didn't have a mechanic before I started. They actually were mechanicalists for about 5 months.
Ooh.
This was my first like independent type job where I had to schedule services, I had to order parts, I had to figure out everything in an industry that I had no experience in at all. So it was a very steep learning curve. So they pretty much brought in Brian because I was sitting there floundering because I was just running I was putting out fires all day. I wasn't actually mechanicking. So they brought Brian in to kind of manage me. Well, then he came in and he's like, holy crap, no wonder you're putting out fires all day. They don't manage anything. They've never maintained anything. They don't have any records. They don't know how to do any of this. And so Brian and I, instead of him coming in and being like, okay, this is how we're going to do things, he came in and was all like, how have you been doing things and where can I help you? And he actually had tools in his truck, and we just started going at it. And he started bringing in more people, and him and I worked as a team. I never looked at him as being my boss and I'm his employee. I looked at it, Brian, what do you need help with today? And he said, what do you need help with today? It was like
We were a team.
we managed the shop, the two of us. And then when actually, it was really funny, as I remember Danny Sanders was like, you have to take your OSHA 10 course, la-da-da. And I was all like, Danny, I'm not going to do this on my own time. I'm going to already work for you 60 hours a week. So if I have to take an OSHA 10 course, I'm going to do it on the clock. And he's all like, no. And I was like, fine, you don't have to have a mechanic then. I was getting pretty snooty by that point. It was after they'd fired Lonan, so I knew that I could find another job if it came to that. But he eventually said, you can't come back to work until you finish your OSHA 10. So during that time period, they had a machine that broke that I knew exactly what was wrong with it after they had fixed it. Took them 3 days I was gone to figure it out. I told them I would have figured it out in half an hour. Oh, that was all like, oh. Brian comes in and he's all like, dude, you're just so amazing. I mean, I don't know how you figure out the things you figure out, but I certainly hope you never leave. Well, then about 3 months after that, I ended up switching jobs, which he encouraged me to do. He told me, he's all like, if you don't take this job, I'll fire you for being an idiot. So,
good guy.
yeah, he was such a good guy. We actually stayed in contact for a couple of years after that. He tried to get me to come join Union Pacific with him when he left Sanders and went to Union Pacific. So he was a guy that I got to learn how a good leader functioned, a guy that you would want to follow because he was on your team. He was on your side. He wasn't in there to tell you how to do your job. He was coming in there to figure out how to use skills you had to better accomplish the task.
And I say that as a drilling aspect. Whenever he came out to work on a drill or whatever, he never looked down to me. At least he always understood where my mechanical aptitude was and put me to work. Which that was one of my favorite things. That I'm not going to stand there and let the mechanic do everything. He made you part of the team every time.
That's awesome.
That's my
That's
Hoyt.
awesome. All right.
That's your Hoyt? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that was how Hoyt was. How can you become part of the team? Or how can I make you so useless you'll quit?
Yes.
Sounds like a Submariner, actually.
Even better.
All right. So, Case now.
Hey, there she goes.
Hey.
She got there. So I'm going to go a completely unconventional route here. I mean, I definitely have other people in my life, but something that's been super influential in my life lately has been a podcast. This is really weird, I know.
Interesting.
Yes. So I'm a huge fan of the Ramsey team, Ramsey Solutions, people that Power works for.
Oh my gosh! While we were doing this, I was thinking, well, should I say Dave Ramsey? Because he's like the most financial, he is the reason I have the finances I do. So I was like, I don't want to bring that up.
Super influential in finances for me too.
So we all
Thank you so much for bringing it up.
Dave Ramsey is definitely financial, but I'm actually not going with Dave on this. I know it's weird.
Ooh, who are you going with?
Dr. John Deloney. So he's new to the Ramsey group. I think he started early last year or late last year. He is a therapist, I believe, or he deals with the mental aspects of life for the Ramsey Solution. And his points he talks about in all of his episodes. So basically, he has people call in and they just talk about their lives and the struggles they're going through, and he walks them through on how to get over those kind of things and how to make basically take anxiety and basically he wrote a book called Redefining Anxiety, which me and Ashley just finished yesterday. It's another quick read, like an hour and 20 minutes. Excellent book on anxiety. Ashley's over here giving it 2 thumbs up. Great
Nice.
book on that. But he's just because he acts very witty and very just trying to be funny all the time. I love that characteristic because I'm very much the same way. So Dr. John Deloney is a massive influence in my life because the way he looks at things, the way he tries to help people on a daily basis, which is something I try to do as well. Yeah, great way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sad because I don't get to listen to him very much anymore, just because I don't have the time to do it. But every chance I'm alone in the car, I have him on, even if it's like 10 minutes down the road. At least I can get a little bit in there.
In the car?
Don't listen with kids around. None of his. It's not like it's bad, but it's really deep stuff.
Gotcha.
And then my wife doesn't feel comfortable with most of that stuff, so I just take tidbits and I share with her once I'm done with them.
All right, Sari.
All right, I'm going to go with someone who influenced my life in a spiritual way, just because I feel like that is a huge aspect of my life. And I don't feel like I was very good at it until I came up to Alaska, and I don't know that I ever would have been if I wouldn't have moved so far away from my family. So,
yeah, being alone do that to you.
Yeah, for sure. So, her name's Sister Christensen. This isn't really someone I talk to anymore, but I met her when I was the Relief Society president of the Singles Ward. And that's the first time I had talked to her, interacted with her, and she was just super kind, super sweet. And, we just talked a little bit and kind of formed a connection. And then after I got married, she took me out to lunch and we talked about marriage and whatnot. And so that was just cute. And then I took an institute class where she was the teacher. And so it was the Marriage and Family Institute class that the church offers. And at the time I was still doing college gymnastics. I think I had been married for about a year at this point. And so me and Bryce went to this class together. And at the time I was like, nope, not never having kids, but I definitely wanted to wait to have kids. And I was like, our marriage is good. We're good. We don't really need marriage advice or anything, right? Year into marriage, you're still in the honeymoon phase. So, so we went to this class anyway, and her ability to just hang on.
Yeah, guys, we're all parents here. If you couldn't tell, we love it.
It's fun. He had to know where his books were.
Heck yeah.
Duh. So anyway, her ability to just teach by the Spirit was amazing to me. I don't think that I had, and I'm sure that I had them in my life, people that taught this way, but I don't think I was quite ready to accept that teaching of them. But I was with her, and her class was so spiritual every time. We went in and we had a blast. It was fun. We laughed, we talked, we read scriptures, we read quotes. We did everything, but you would just leave feeling so uplifted and ready to act. And there have been very few people and times in my life where I have felt that way, where I just leave and I'm ready to act and I act on it and I'm ready to go on what they said. And so one of the classes we had was about having kids and whatnot. And so, she challenged us all to go home and pray about our families and our family situations and what the Lord has in store for us, basically, for having kids. And so I remember going home and praying about that and just being so overwhelmed with the answer that I got, which was that we need to start trying to have kids as soon as I was done competing gymnastics. which would have been in about 4 months from that point. So
Whoa.
yeah, so it was really crazy, and the Lord has a time for everything. We ended up getting pregnant like literally the week after I retired from gymnastics, so that was pretty cool. But I still to this day just remember like the spirit that she brought, and then she was in our stake or she still is in our stake, and her husband was one of the presidency members of the stake, and he ended up dying of brain cancer. But just to see her strength through that as well, like just taking care of her husband and loving her husband and being there for him. They got up in a state conference and talked before he died, and she talked about how all she wanted was like a little more time with him, and she would give she was like, here's what I'll give up, because she was like an avid Diet Coke fan. Like drank probably 3, 4, 5 of them a day. And she was like, Lord, I will give up Diet Coke if you will give me a little more time with my husband. And so she did. And like, she got however much more time she got. And I just think that's amazing to like, just see her faith and her strength, and just like the spirit that she gives off. I think like, we hear a lot about just like the spirit of people, and they have this light about them or whatever. And that is definitely she's definitely one of those people for me, where she just has a light about her and she just sprinkles it everywhere she goes. Like, it's amazing.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right, Griffey, ready to wrap it up for us?
Not really.
Too bad.
So I think my last one is probably going to be Brother Mitchell. And I'm trying to think of one particular scenario of what was yeah, I can't even say it right
His
now.
influence, I would say.
Influence in my life, but very many. So little backstory: Brother Mitchell was my best friend's dad growing when I was in high school. And Brother Mitchell, actually, I mean, he was in church as well, and just listening to him talk and understand gospel in a different way, gospel and life and everything else in a totally different way, is just, to this day, he's someone that makes you think so much deeper than what you ever thought, and someone that really brought the spirit into all of the things that you would really talk about. And he was someone that very much, influenced me. I know that he's influenced probably Baron
And me,
Case,
definitely.
yes, and
But-
Dad and Mom, and he's a spiritual monster.
In a good way.
Well, and just a huge heart. I mean, when I was going through my stuff originally with PDD, when I had been fired, I talked to him every other day for 2 months regarding some legality stuff. But then also asking him, he became a mentor of mine during that time period. And so recommended a lot of good books, and I would bounce ideas off of him. Very insightful person. And then also I got to work out with him a lot when I went to jail. When I got to spend a night in jail, I ended up having to go out to Pahrump a couple of times when we drive back and forth, and he's just such a good guy.
Yeah, like, I don't know how to explain it better than that. And very much a person that whenever we go to talk up, it's not like we've missed any time. Someone that absolutely, most of the Mitchells are kind of that way for us. I don't think that there's a huge awkwardness. Probably Jordan, to be honest. The one that was my best friend's probably the most awkward person I have to deal with. All the other ones, it's not that big of a deal, it's because we were such a tight niche. I don't know, how would you say it, Bear? Like, just
They were
we
a
were-
second family. Like,
yeah,
I was over at the Mitchell house probably a good 50% of my time we lived there.
I was
If
gonna
not
say,
more.
you guys were over there all of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even I was over there a fair amount, and I was not home ever. Like,
we were very much that, very much it was a home away from home, and but it was back and forth. The Mitchells were at our house about
Yeah.
half the time. Like, if we weren't
Minnie
at their
Mitchell
house,
never left.
yeah, if we weren't at their house, they were at our house. And so the Mitchells in general were very much a influence in my life, and probably all of ours. But Brother Mitchell is definitely one that, and I probably got I did not get as much as Baron. Baron and him came really close when Baron decided to get every ticket in the world. But I was very close. I was very close with Brother Mitchell. I mean, Brother Mitchell gave me. He gave me 2 cars.
2 cars. Yep.
He gave me. I mean, he paid for. I wouldn't fix stuff, but like money that would have not been worth what I fixed, he wouldn't pay for basically mom and dad's rent more than once, and like stuff like that. That I mean, just.
Well, and it's humility. You go and talk to him, and he's like, I just felt like I owed you guys so much for helping me when I was Elder Scorn president. And he brings it up every time. He's like, because we always bring it up. Brother Mitchell, why do you keep doing this? Why are you so helpful? I mean, we don't do anything for you. He's like, because you guys were the people I could always depend on when it came to moving somebody. And we moved, he added numbers. It was like 200 families.
The time we
in
lived
2
there.
years we
Baron
lived there.
literally was coined Tetris Master because he moved so many people and was so good at packing trailers.
He was
That's
the guy in
awesome.
the trailer. You just brought him boxes. Baron put them where they wanted to be.
Fact.
Well, you and Mike can be in the trailer together.
Not
Yep.
anymore. I've lost that ability.
No.
I don't think that's the case, Bear.
No.
Baron can out Tetris Lonin, and Lonin was a good Tetris master. But even Lonin said that Baron will out Tetris him. Like, the things that Baron gets is amazing that he fits into a trailer.
Yes.
Amen.
awesome.
Baron's super good. It's like a hidden talent.
But to go
but we
back
did
to
that one already.
We did that. We did
Yeah.
that podcast, Sarah. You
Well,
missed
I
out.
wasn't here. Sorry.
Oh, you got to do one, Sari. The ones that weren't there, they got to do it.
Yup, it was
Yes.
awesome. Anyway, all right. So that was really fun. You got that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
Thank you for sharing, everybody. All right. So, listeners, who has been influential in your life? Tag them, shout them out. Tell us what is so special about them. We want to hear who's influenced you and what they've influenced you to become. Again, don't forget book club next week. We're reading The Go-Giver. It's super short. You can do it really fast, but it's a really good parable, and I think we're going to have a great discussion about it, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. All right, Case, shout out our channels. You can find us
At Instagram and Facebook, and that's at King Ugly Crew. Or you can hit us up on our Gmail account if you have a question, or if you want to just send us an email about the person influenced you. We love to read it. Be able to shout out those people on the air. That would be at kinguglycrew@gmail.com. And then find us on WordPress. Lauren isn't here, so I'm trying to remember. I believe it is kinguglycrew.wordpress.com.
My guess would be if you Google King Ugly Crew, you're going to find a.
Yes, we'll be on all the socials and WordPress. So go check us out.
Thank you very much, you guys. Until next time, we can't wait to hear from you.
Stay ugly.
Stay
Stay
ugly.
ugly.